ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमः विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनामने गौरतुसे नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So we welcome everyone for today's discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So we are discussing from Bhagavad Gita chapter 1 and verse number 25. So yesterday we discussed from this verse number 25. Bhishma Drona Pramukhatah Sarvesam च महीक्षिताम् उवाच पार्थ पश्येतान् संवेतान् कुरुनिति. In the presence of Bhishma, Drona, and all the other chieftains of the world, the Lord said, just behold, Partha, all the Kurus assembled here. So, understanding the mentality or what was going in the mind of Arjuna, Krishna could predict. So, Krishna, being the supreme personality of Godhead, supreme controller, all powerful, omniscient. Omniscient means all knowledgeable, and the most unlimitedly intelligent being. So Krishna is also a person, but he's not person like us who have limited intelligence, limited power, limited controllership. No. So Krishna is also a being, a person, but his personality is transcendental, divine personality. So he has unlimited intelligence, unlimited power, and unlimited potential, potentials. Everything in unlimited. But he is also a person. So because of having unlimited intelligence, Krishna could understand or Krishna could predict. He could predict what is going to happen to Arjuna next, the next. Uh, so understanding this, Krishna put the chariot in between, in front of Bhishma and Drona, and wanted to see the reaction of Arjuna, which he obviously predicted that he is going to become morose. After seeing Bhishma and Drona, he will get afflicted with affection for them. That's why Krishna is addressing Arjuna. Oh, Parth, you are Parth, you are coming from Kuru dynasty, such a great dynasty. You are son of Kunti, Pritha, son of Pritha. So Pritha is Kunti Maharani. So Kunti Maharani, although she is a woman, but still you see Parth, your mother, although a woman, she is ready to give up all kinds of affection, material attachments, and she is only interested to develop love and affection for me. So you being the son, you are a son, Kshatriya son of Pritha, Kshatrani. So how can you become overcome with the affection for Bhishma and Drona? This affection is out of body. So how can you be affected? So don't get affected. So Krishna is predicting. So that's why he's addressing Arjuna as Parth. So this we discussed yesterday. So that's why Krishna is telling Arjuna, behold the Kurus, see, observe, and see them as Kshatriyas fighting against you. So don't get bewildered. Don't see Bhishma as your grandfather, Drona as your teacher. Uh, you should see them as your enemies. and you should shoot arrows without hesitation. Don't get bewildered with material affection. So that is what Krishna desires from Arjuna. But uh, against the desire of Krishna, Arjuna will become overcome by material affection, and he will develop dehatma buddhi, bodily consciousness. So today's verse we are going to discuss. So तत्रापश्यत् स्थितान् पार्थ पितॄनथ पितामहान् आचार्यान् मातुलान् भ्रातॄन् पुत्रान् पौत्रान् सखींस्तथा स्वसुरान् सुहृदश्चैव सेनयोरुभयोरपि. Translation. There Arjuna could see within the midst of the armies of both parties his fathers, grandfathers, teachers, maternal uncles, brothers, sons, grandsons, friends, and also his fathers in law and well wishers. So, this verse explains the vision of Arjuna, how Arjuna is seeing the military, the warriors present on the other side. Arjuna is seeing what is his vision and what Krishna wanted. Krishna, of course, he knew, he predicted, he expected that Arjuna might become overwhelmed by seeing his friends and relatives, and he may see them based on bodily affection. That was expectation of Krishna, but Krishna never wanted like that. So Krishna wanted Arjuna to see them as enemies, uh, but Arjuna is seeing them with different vision. So, the kind of consciousness, the kind of mentality we have, accordingly, we see things surrounding us. So, the kind of consciousness we have. Somebody whose consciousness is very much polluted. Polluted consciousness means dirty consciousness, material consciousness. So, material consciousness uh, is polluted consciousness. And that material consciousness means consciousness which is based on this body, material body, matter. So one who sees everything in terms of body, material body, that is actually material consciousness or bodily consciousness, and that is polluted consciousness. And this is what is known as dehatma buddhi. Mm. It's very important. So hear it very carefully. So dehatma buddhi, deha plus atma plus buddhi. Deha means this body, Atma means self, and Buddhi means mentality or consciousness or conception, you can say. Concept, all of you know concept. Uh, those who are maths students, they might have read this book, Concepts of Physics by S.C. Verma, IIT, when we were preparing for IIT. The concepts of physics. So just like there are concepts of physics, concepts of chemistry, concepts of mathematics. So concepts means that the thing which drives that particular object, or the concepts means the backbone or fundamental principles, you can say. That is concepts. So concepts, so according to the concepts, the things run in this world. Uh, Any machine, any object, there is some concept behind it. And accordingly, the machine works. The function of the machine is determined by the concept behind it. And concept is then conceptualized. Concept is then formalized. First of all, the function is conceptualized, means concepts are made, and based on concepts laws are derived, and then formulas are made, and then accordingly any scientist or any scientific student or person can utilize it, those concepts based on formulas. Similarly, in this world also, every living being, they are acting based on their conceptions, they based on their concepts, or in other words, we can say their consciousness. So this conception of life. So the kind of conceptions one has, or the in simple words you can say mentality one has, or consciousness one has, accordingly he acts in this world. Any person. So actually actions are performed not by our hands, legs, eyes, ears, nose, no senses. Senses doesn't perform action. Senses do not perform actions. Actions are performed by the consciousness uh, present, mentality, conceptions present within the person. So those consciousness or conceptions causes one to perform actions. So these senses are just instrument. Instruments are used according to the dictation of the master. The master is mind, and according the kind of ideas or conceptions the mind has, he will similarly perform. Just like same object may be there, and different category of living entity may come and use and see it differently based on their conception. Just like a beautiful rose flower is there in a garden. So uh, if a goat comes, so for the goat, she will this beautiful rose flower is breakfast for her. Uh, and suppose if a young boy comes, a lusty young man comes, so for him that rose flower is a very nice gift for his girlfriend. He will take it and give it to his girlfriend to impress her. And suppose if a devotee of Krishna comes and he sees the rose flower, so he will say, "Wow, so nice flower! It is. It will be very nice if I put it on the lotus feet of Krishna. If I make a garland of this rose flower and put it on Lord Krishna, it will be, Krishna will look very beautiful." So in this way, devotee has another vision. That lusty young man has another vision, and that goat has another vision. You the object is same, but based on consciousness or mentality, the vision has got changed. Uh, for somebody, the same rose flower is breakfast, eating substance. For somebody, the same rose flower is a gift item to impress somebody else, and the same rose flower is actually an object of offering to the Lord. So, what is reality? So based on consciousness, different objects uh, gets changed. The real vision gets changed. So, but what is really? What is the reality? Reality is based on the true consciousness. The true consciousness is Krishna consciousness. When one sees according to the vision of the Supreme Lord, that is actually true concept, true conceptions, a true consciousness. And with that in that consciousness, a devotee sees things as they are. Only a devotee of Krishna, because he is perfectly situated in Krishna consciousness, pure consciousness. So only he can see things as they are, and things are all the things are subordinate and energy, potency of the Supreme Lord. So everything should be utilized in the service of the Lord. That is the correct vision of any object, any person of this material world. An incorrect, impure vision is to see things or people of this world with polluted consciousness or material consciousness. That is Dehatma Buddhi. So we were discussing about Dehatma Buddhi. Deha plus Atma plus Buddhi. So Deha means body, Atma means self, and Buddhi means conception. So one who sees things uh, in the bodily conception of life. Or Dehatma Buddhi means one who considers himself to be the body, and the objects and things connected with the body is of in that terms he sees the things. So that is Dehatma Buddhi. No? So Krishna wanted to uh, point out this. So in this verse, Arjuna's consciousness is reflected. So the way you see, that reflects your consciousness. And the way you see, in that way you will speak, and that way you will act also. So here Arjuna is seeing all the people present on the other side as his relatives, blood relatives. Tatra apashyat. That's why this word is very significant. Apashyat. He could see. Who could see? Arjuna could see. Arjuna could see only Sthitan Partha. All the standing warriors, Arjuna could see them only as Pitran, Athapiha, Pitamahan, fathers, Pitamahan, grandfathers, Acharyan, teachers, Matulan, maternal uncles, Bratran, brothers, Putran, sons, Pautran, grandsons, Sakhin, friends, तथा ससुरान fathers-in-law, Surida, well-wishers, Chayeva Senayoruභयोरपि, in both the parties. Arjuna is only seeing everyone present as these relatives, blood relatives. Uh, so in relation with this body only Arjuna is seeing. But actually both the parties are not like that. The true vision is, true consciousness is that the opposite party are his enemies and his own party are his uh, friends. Or you can say followers of dharma are on the on the side of Pandavas, and followers of adharma are present on the other side. So that is the correct vision. But Arjuna, instead of seeing in this correct vision, he is seeing with material vision, and that will become the cause of Arjuna's despondency. He will become depressed. This is the reason. So, this is the lesson we learn from this particular verse number 26. This explains Arjuna's falling in the grip of illusion because of having material bodily concept of life. So this dehatma buddhi. So as long as one has this dehatma buddhi, material bodily concept of life, one is sure to become bewildered in this material world. One is sure to become depressed. One is sure to become illusioned. One is sure to become confused. And hence one is sure to become completely in a miserable situation of life. So that is what is going to happen with Arjuna now, because he got into this worldly concept of life. And this is what exactly is our position in this material world. Every one of us have this material conception of life, bodily conception of life, in which we think ourselves to be this body and things related or connected with this body as belonging to us. And in this way, because this material body is temporary, so definitely it is going to change and ultimately it is going to get destroyed. So that is going to make us suffer in this material world. So anything, not just body or things, anything, anything which is based on material conception of life, whether it is material things, material body, material things, material people, material relationships, material places, circumstances, everything. All material things are non-permanent, mm, are temporary. So any temporary thing, if we accept those temporary things, so definitely uh, it is going to make us bewilder, and it is going to make us our life miserable, because these things are not permanent. Just like Arjuna is seeing here, he is seeing his Pitamaha, Acharya, Matulan, Bhratran, Putran, Pautran. So all these relatives are present, and no one is going to survive after this battlefield. So that's why Arjuna is very much depressed. He will start crying also because of this bodily concept of life. Huh? If in true somebody who is in true consciousness, who knows, who identifies himself with the principles of dharma, so he will understand, okay, at the end of this battlefield, dharma, principles of dharma will be protected. So he will not feel depressed because he is not attached to a person, he is not attached to things, material person, material situations, material relationships. A Krishna conscious person is not attached to any material object, material people, material relationship. That's why he never becomes depressed even if there are changes in terms of material things, material people, material relationships. Because a Krishna conscious person, he is firmly fixed up in true identity. He is attached to the principles of dharma. So, and principles of dharma are always protected. Satyam eva jayate. Satya, dharma is Satya, Krishna is Satya, Krishna consciousness is Satya. So that is ever protected. So that's why a person who is always attached to the principles of dharma, who is always attached to Krishna consciousness, Krishna, and spiritual consciousness, who is in spiritual consciousness, so he is never going to become bewildered, he is never going to become depressed, because Krishna is always going to remain as it is. All the spiritual relationships are always going to remain as it is, so there will be no cause of any depression, because nothing is going to change. But as soon as a person is attached to something which is temporary and which is going to get changed over the period of time, so surely enough that person is going to become bewildered and become depressed because of this. So the conclusion from this verse is, as long as we maintain this bodily conception of life, considering ourselves to be the body, so guaranteed we are going to become depressed. We are going to come in stress, because neither this body or nor anything in relationship with this material body is going to remain forever in this material world. So this is the lesson we learn from this, that the root cause, in other words, we can say the root cause of all the suffering, root cause of all the disturbances, all the miserable situation of everyone's life is this only, that one identifies oneself with this material body. One thinks of himself to be made of these material elements, and one's consciousness is simply merged in temporary material things, temporary material relationships, and temporary material circumstances, places, objects, people. And that's why we become perplexed, we become depressed, and we suffer in this world. So as soon as we uh, transfer our consciousness from material to spiritual, our consciousness from temporary to eternal, permanent, so definitely then we are safe, on safe side, we are not going to become depressed. uh, So this is the lesson we learn from this. So in the purpose of Prabhupada writes, on the battlefield, Arjuna could see all kinds of relatives. He could see persons like Bhurishrava, who were his father's contemporaries. Grandfathers Bhishma and Somadatta were his grandfathers. Teachers like Dronacharya and Kripacharya. Maternal uncles like Sailya and Sakuni. Brothers like Duryodhana. Sons like Lakshmana. Friends like Aswathama, well-wishers like Krituvarma, etc. He could see also the armies which contained many of his friends. So that is what he is seeing. And what is going to happen after seeing, after developing this material vision, what is going to happen? I already explained, because this verse is just initiates this Dehatma Buddhi, bodily conception of life in Arjuna. So I just introduced it here. But what Arjuna is going to experience, Arjuna himself will explain in the upcoming verses, that after being entrapped in the illusion of bodily conception of life, what is the result, that we learn gradually in the upcoming sessions. So thank you very much. If there are any questions, you can ask. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Vijay Damrutana. Prabhuji,
Hare
as you
Krishna.
told in the lecture that nothing is permanent in this material world, no relationship, nothing, no body. So, is anything permanent we can say is bhakti? Anything that is permanent?
Yes. So the only permanent thing is spirit soul, spiritual things, and the Supreme Lord is permanent, and the relationship between the soul, living entity, and the Supreme Lord, and that relationship is the function of bhakti. The function is bhakti. So that is also permanent. Only that's why only three things are permanent in this material world. That is Bhagavan, Bhakta, and Bhakti. These three things are permanent. Except these three things, everything is temporary, and anyone except apart from these three things, if anyone invests his consciousness, anything else, he is surely going to become depressed, confused, demotivated, and ultimately miserable in his life.
Prabhu, mostly people they thought like nothing is permanent, so sorrow is also not permanent. But this is the wrong conception, na? Because every birth we have to face the sorrow again and again. So that is a permanent thing. Na? We have to think in that way that spiritual spirit and three things you told
Yes,
is permanent. So we have to focus on that only. Hare Krishna.
yes. So as long as we are attached to impermanent things, our miserable condition is permanent.
हरे
Okay.
Thank you,
कृष्णा
Prabhu.
प्रभु जी,
Yes.
धन्यवाद प्रणाम।
Yes, Jitesh, Hare Krishna.
ये क्वेश्चन है प्रभु जी कि जैसे कल मैंने पूछा था कि परिस्थिति चेंज हो जाती है और डिसीजन जब नहीं ले पाते, बट एज अ ह्यूमन हमारा टाइम लिमिटेड होता है। बट अर्जुन के पास जैसे अर्जुन तो महान थे और शक्तियां भी उनको बहुत दी हुई थी भगवान से ही बहुत सारी शक्तियां प्राप्त की, समय भी और गाइडेंस भी एकदम परफेक्ट था भगवान से। बट हम मनुष्य के तौर पर हमारा टाइम लिमिटेड होता है, हमारी शक्ति लिमिटेड होती है। तो ऐसे में डिसीजन नहीं ले पाना वो एक थोड़ा सा प्रॉब्लम हो जाता
Yes, we have limited time, limited potential. That's why instead of wasting our time and potential and energy, we should utilize it in Krishna consciousness. So the more quickly we become situated in true consciousness, true knowledge, the more is our benefit. Why to waste
है।
time? That's why for our benefit, Lord Krishna is giving Bhagavad Gita so that because we have limited time, so if we try to understand the reality of life on our own, so our entire life will go away in this way only. We cannot understand even a single
True.
thing about the reality. That's why Krishna, out of great mercy, has given the complete reality only in 700 verses. So intelligent person should utilize it and take advantage of the instruction of Bhagavad Gita.
एंड प्रभु जी एक रिक्वेस्ट है, क्या मैं वो लिंक पोस्ट कर दूं यहाँ पर
No,
जो मैं।
no, no,
ओके
not
राइट,
required.
क्या आप ज्वाइन करना चाहेंगे लेक्चर
नहीं, मैं देखता हूँ
टॉक?
मेरे टाइम मैनेज होगा तो।
हरे कृष्णा। एंड एक रिक्वेस्ट और है प्रभु जी, अगर मतलब सब सारे हाथ रेस करके क्वेश्चन पूछें और आप जब कमेंट करें तो, क्योंकि मतलब ऐसे ही नहीं तो सवाल पूछ लेते हैं।
हाँ, तो हैंड रेस करके ही पूछ रहे हैं।
है ना?
ओके।
नहीं, कितनी बार
यस
प्रेस किया
अंकिता
अनम्यूट
माता जी।
करके पूछ लेते हैं।
ओके। यस अंकिता माता जी, you have some question?
Hare Krishna ji, one thing you told in between the lecture that Kunti Maharani was not attached to anyone in her life. He was very much dedicated to Krishna. I guess this thing you have told.
Yes,
So
yes.
can we say like कि Kunti Maharani was like udasin in nature, not in a negative sense, but in a neutral sense?
Yeah, towards material things, a devotee is always udasi, neutral. The neutral doesn't mean he doesn't care, but he actually devotee is neutral in terms of using it for himself. But he is always aware that everything is connected to Krishna, everything belongs to Krishna. So he utilizes everything for the service of the Lord. So that is the nature of a devotee.
The devotee should show his or her happiness regarding Krishna, means like for not for the material world, for Krishna, like we do in ISKCON.
Yes, yes.
Hare
And
Krishna.
in Krishna consciousness, we feel sorrow, we feel anxiety, we feel happiness, bliss, everything. But that is transcendental, and that is actually above these three modes of material nature. Okay.